go!
Hello, party people, and welcome to Honest Trailer Commentaries for, you guessed it, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh man, what a good one. What a good show that is. But if you watch this video, you'll hear our behind-the-scenes thought process, go into some more detail in the trailer. We're going to watch it together. We're going to talk about some deleted scenes, because we cut a bunch of stuff from this one, including a surprise from Prince Zuko himself. And we'll respond to questions and complaints from viewers like you. So joining me today is Lon Harris, Danielle Radford, and Joe Starr, who I must mention is doing the Fandom 5 trivia on Avatar: The Last Airbender next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday, correct?
This Friday.
No, this Friday. My fault.
This Friday, yes.
It's this Friday. And yes, the blood contract you have signed requires that you announce it at the top of the show.
Yes. So sign up for that and win $650. Man, that's good. That's a lot of money for answering questions about Avatar: The Last Airbender. He'll sell you air like in Spaceballs.
Having written all of these questions, some of the answers will almost certainly be discussed on this show. So if you're watching right now,
it's like
basically already prepped.
This is your study guide.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is after Aang privatizes the post office and like takes over.
Air. Perry Air.
It's like that guy selling Chinese food in Blade Runner. He's the last Airbender.
Wait, you mean Fifth Element? The guy on the
you're right.
He's in like a flying boat.
He's on the ground in Blade Runner. My mistake.
I'm just talking about the important stuff because the last thing we'd want to talk about is Avatar: The Last Airbender because it's really good. What else is there to say? What do you guys think?
Yeah, this show's great. I love this show a whole lot. And to the point where I think you were getting frustrated that early drafts of mine for this just had no jokes or bad things to say in them, and they were
Joe's first draft on this was a real
just a real dick suck, man.
There you go. I didn't want to get demonetized. You're responsible for it. A real air job of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And that's fine because it's great. And I don't think that we were unfair or cruel at any point, but correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the challenge, is like what's funny and what's different about this. To me, again, very difficult. This is such a good show. I'd never actually sat down and watched it all the way through, but man, it gets its hooks into you, and like it's very bingeable. I was not expecting that. Yeah. It has a beautiful rhythm and cadence to it, where it keeps pushing along this overarching story forward. But every week, it's like, oh, what are they gonna discover this time? What new power? What new town? So just fantastic all around. I got nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, it's very creative. Like even once it sort of, once you get the whole premise and the kind of conceit comes there, they're endlessly inventive in terms of how bending works and how different people can use it and how it sort of weaves its way into every aspect of the society. I think a lot of shows, they kind of have that mythology, and then once you get it, it's like relatively unchanged. It's like, well, they're just going to keep using their powers. But Avatar, every episode, every season, like really kind of reinvents the wheel in terms of, everything, the whole premise from the ground up. And so, yeah, it's only 3 seasons, and it remains really involving the whole way through.
Yeah. Danielle, what are your Avatar thoughts?
Again, it's really, it's just a really good show. And I know that obviously we make the joke, and we'll talk about it in there, about how it's for 8-year-olds, but it is one of those shows where, like truly all ages, because I think a lot of shows call themselves all ages. It's like, no, you're for kids, and you're saying you're all, this is really an all ages show. It is really, because it does appeal to, obviously, like it can appeal to a younger audience, but there is stuff in there that is definitely for us, for the adults. And a lot of the themes, it does that thing that kid shows got really good at, which is finding a way to tackle really heavy subjects in a way without being super preachy, but that is translatable for kids, for the children. It's great. And
something we kind of neglect to mention at any point is like it's beautiful. Like it looks great. They did not skimp on the action scenes, and they were like fairly consistent throughout. Like it wasn't like they like DBZ where there was like 12 episodes of filler and then you had something cool that they spent money on. I actually wonder how they were able to pull that off, because it even stands out among animation of its time. Like,
Yeah.
even kids' action shows.
Any show that immediately brings to mind Miyazaki, like it's obvious that this was inspired by Miyazaki and like they're bringing that. If any TV show can pull that off, it's like very impressive because those are the most beautiful, highly detailed animated movies ever made, really.
And there's very often a drop off in animation quality too. Once it gets to a point where it's kind of hooked you, they can be like, well, we can pump these out faster and we've already got you with how pretty the first, couple of seasons are. So a lot of times the animation quality will go down, and it was really nice. And it does also help that it's only 3 seasons, that it stayed so consistently detailed and gorgeous and fluid throughout.
Yeah, it got better actually. I think looking back at book 1 or season 1, it's a little more flat and less dynamic than it was by the finale. I mean, my God. Yeah. And you never had that.
I think really is where you start to notice, like, oh, it's like huge and everything is really detailed and colorful and
Yeah, you never had that awkward 4th season or whatever, like X-Men the Animated Series got, where they changed studios and like, well, you can make it, but on half the money. So good luck. Yeah.
And it really is. I think it's interesting that you said how bingeable it is, because it really does feel like it's almost designed to be streamed and binged, because they pack so much into a 22-minute episode that it feels like you've got like an hour's worth of episode in most of them. Even some of the more goobery like standalone eps, like they pack a ton in, but it's only 22 minutes. So yeah, it really is designed to just get cranked through and binged.
It moves, baby.
This is the kind of show that like this animation makes me feel old, because this looks so much better to me. Like as good as you can make like a Clone Wars type show. I don't mean to gang up on Clone Wars. I like that one too, but like no matter how good you make that TV CGI animation, it just never looks as good to me as this. So I don't know if that's me just like, well, this is what I'm used to, or like cell animation just legitimately being better.
I get that, because we just finished Dragon Prince over here, and that's more sort of like cell CG, and it gets better after the first season, and it ends up looking really good, but I would prefer hand-drawn, too. It's just a personal preference.
Yeah, hand-drawn, I mean, obviously it's computer-aided. Everything is these days. They're not taking photographs of pieces of leaf paper, but it's just always going to be more expressive. Or not always, but it is for now more expressive to draw by hand, because you can do all those cartoonist tricks that have been developed over the last 50 years, like when Aang's face completely contorts or like blows up and gets red or whatever. Like, you don't quite do that with CG, or like it
you
isn't
don't like DreamWorks face?
Love a good DreamWorks face.
Joe's better at it than me.
God,
I actually do that. There are photographs of me doing stand-up. Almost all of them, I'm doing DreamWorks face. I don't know, not on purpose.
That's just my Shrek impression. I do an Ace Shrek impression.
Yuck. All right, let's watch the honest trailer for Avatar: Last Airbender. We'll have a lot more to say as it goes.
First, they brought you slime. Then, they grossed you out. Now, Nickelodeon brings you their crowning achievement. The best appropriation of Asian culture since Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai.
Now, pause.
Everyone should watch Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai.
So good.
Yeah, I think that was a less popular reference than I think originally we had Wu-Tang Clan or Orange Chicken or something like that.
I think originally I had Wu-Tang Clan, and then I was like, maybe Wu-Tang Clan and Orange Chicken. And
that Ghost Dog clip, I mean, just so good.
Perfect.
Just got to do a little roof martial arts before.
Yeah, this one was one for us.
Yeah, it was. But if we can introduce the fandom of Avatar to the small but mighty fandom of Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai.
There were Jarmusch fans out there in our crowd.
There was already someone in the comments who was like, I had to Google Ghost Dog and realized that they made a movie about how I act when I sit at home alone and watch anime, and so it's already... I feel good.
Yes.
It's for sword guys everywhere.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
I can totally imagine Jim Jarmusch like he does a snap kick like his underwear into his hand, and he's like, I have an idea for a movie. I could be a samurai, and so could he.
He's going to do like one indie film for every subculture. It's like dudes who are really into vampires get one. Dudes who are really into samurai swords get one. Like he's going to work his way through all the subcultures.
I'm looking forward to his snake guy.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Let's keep going.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Experience the show that everyone loves, and since it's been on Netflix, no one will shut up about. Full of bright colors, silly jokes, and simple life lessons that will delight your inner 8-year-old. Because this show was made for actual 8-year-olds.
Running around and just making noises and
But who cares? I'd give my firstborn if it meant we'd get a season 4. Why didn't they make a season 4 anyway? Shyamalan! Enter a world
So
of
pause.
4...
I was shocked that the movie had that effect on this. I forgot to mark it down, but somebody disagreed with this in the comments. But this was the article I came across. Was the creators talking about how they were pulled off the show, or they pulled themselves off the show to work on this movie, which is shocking that they were involved in it at all.
It's.
But
the
I don't think that the movie is I don't think the show is missing a 4th season. It didn't really it would have been more of an epilogue. I think I was reading that it would gone more into Azula's redemption, her and Zuko would have had an arc, but it seemed like they had tied everything up pretty well.
Yeah, they did comics to bridge afterwards, and I haven't read them. They might be great. I don't know, but I sort of looked at the synopsis for them, and I was kind of like, I don't need any of that.
Yeah, I mean, it ends in a really it feels like a natural conclusion to the story they've been telling, which is Khan's development into the Avatar and learning what he needs to in order to protect the world. That story sort of wraps itself up. So I feel like it ends in a pretty good place.
It's like the Buffy comic books, Buffy season 8, where all of a sudden Buffy might be gay. I mean, I'm all for Buffy making out with girls or forever or whatever. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't need to see Zuko find his mom. I love that the show ends on that very painful cliffhanger for him. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's also it's weird that the guys who made the show worked on the Shyamalan movie at all, because it's such a a weird, wrong-headed take on how to adapt it in the first place.
Yeah.
They're trying to pack so much of the show into this first one movie when you watching the series, you totally get what the first chapter in this story would be.
I mean, it had to feel like being handled, right? Where Shyamalan's I absolutely want your input. I love and respect you so much. And then anytime they'd give notes, he was probably that's a great note, but also I make movies.
Right. Also, here's what I'm going to do.
Had to feel so frustrating.
I guess that must be the story, because it doesn't feel when you watch the movie, it doesn't feel like the hands of the original creators are there at all.
Yeah, it's literally in the dark. You can't see. They couldn't see what was happening.
It's a very
Don't worry.
They couldn't see the
We'll
dailies.
brighten it up in post.
Yeah, they were in
never
Video
did.
Village what's going on? He's trust me, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, gonna be great.
All right, keep going.
Enter a world of 4 kingdoms, each with its own stereotype. I mean personality type. I mean element. Solid earth, flighty air, soothing water, and fiery fire, where warriors known as benders can fling stuff around by doing karate next to it. Masters of martial arts can turn their bodies into living weapons. And every animal had sex with every other animal.
Komodo chicken.
It's a wolf bat!
Giant eelhound.
Badger moles!
Baby saber-toothed moose lion cub.
Love is love is love is... Best not to think too hard about it. Everything changed.
Yeah, all those animals, at some point in their lives,
Port.
all port.
And I had a note on that because I'm very confused. How are the wolf and the bat look? I just
Listen, we're taking a pretty big leap here. It could be they mutated. This could be a post-apocalyptic radioactive.
But they also have, and they even put hang a lantern on it of the existence of just single.
The bear,
right? Yes.
The bear joke is great.
There's just a bear that's just a bear, yes.
And they're all perplexed. That's such a good bit.
oh, that bear's not going to bang a caterpillar. That's
When I saw that episode and I was taking notes on it, I was like, "Oh, this is genius! This is going to be." And then it didn't make it.
Bang that.
I mean, in the words of Dumb and Dumber, it must have been some kind of lube.
Yeah. And then just anything on bending in general. I thought, bending's cool. Sometimes the people who work in the cities like bending. They reminded me of the dinosaurs in the Flintstones who would turn to the camera and say, "It's a living." It's like you just have to like raise and lower the elevator or make the carts go all day.
Yeah, my favorite bending moments, and there aren't actually as many. Like in my brain, after watching the show, I thought there was a lot more of this than there actually is when I had to like notate it. But it's when people don't need to bend; they just gesture with bending. I love that. Like you would sometimes where you just get frustrated, you're like, "Damn it!" But it's like with fire, where you're like, "Ugh," and then like a rock gets thrown into the atmosphere. Like that would be so cool in your day-to-day life if you could
Good way
just
to punctuate.
Like fire some water out of your hands because you were upset.
My issue with fire,
TikToks.
great TikToks. My issue with firebending, and granted, as we said, it's a show for children. Where's like the flesh melting off somebody's bones? Where's the horrifying, complete like screaming in agony as they burn? I feel like fire usually just like pushes somebody back. They just go, I got hit with fire. Oh, that's annoying.
I think it's the 8-year-olds thing. I think.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Although a hard R anime adaptation of Airbender could be awesome.
Oh God, no! Don't give me.
Yes.
Don't give
make
me
it grim.
They like put Zack Snyder on this. And
No, do not give me one of these grim dark Power Rangers short films.
Yes.
Zuko's just a complete psycho in this one, just like melting people.
Yes.
Although I will say one of the interesting things about the 8-year-old of it all for fire, where it pushes people back or it knocks people down or whatever, is that the moments where it does actually burn someone to make a point in the storytelling or something are actually really impactful.
Yes.
As a result.
But it's always story-based burning. No one ever just gets
story-based burning.
Yeah.
I want like a Starship Troopers, like the arm turns to Moulton and then sloughs off.
It definitely has that A-team.
I know that arm.
Stuff where the guys have guns, but they shoot the boxes above you to fall on you rather than pumping you full of lead. Yeah, it's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
They wrote themselves into a corner with fire because
give me something hardcore like Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just murking people with an AR.
Oh man.
Okay.
Why doesn't Aang ever call Leopard on? Just one time.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked 100 years ago. And then, nothing changed for 95 years, cause neither side is making progress. Now, only the Avatar can end this Firefest once and for all. Aang, an elongated baby with a downvote on his head. He's a kid struggling with attention deficit disorder.
Don't start without me, boy! Remember the reason we're here. Oh, right. Time to practice waterbending.
Who screws around all year, then freaks out the week before finals.
The invasion's in 4 days? Ugh.
Rounding out the Avateens is Katara, a moon-powered Reiki enthusiast.
I can feel a lot of energy twisted up around there.
Toph, a barefoot blind badass straight out of a Tarantino movie.
Sorry, shoes.
Sokka,
I think it was too niche. Hopefully, to do the I think his name's Dan Schneider. Is that his name? The Nickelodeon producer.
The Nickelodeon producer who puts feet in everything. He's the guy from Head of the Class.
Yeah.
And iCarly, who's like Quentin Tarantino for kids, which makes it so much more wrong and disturbing.
Ew, I didn't know about this.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why we didn't write it in, because the less you know, the better on this one.
And Tarantino is on the creepy foot guy spectrum. Tarantino's on the safer side.
At least they're all adults.
It seems like they're all consensual
feet
who knew what they were getting into when they took off their shoes, as far as I know. But yeah, but he did work at Nickelodeon, which made me think he's I have one note.
Can we see your feet some more?
Wiki feet would have been a good starring for her.
Yeah. Oh well.
Still have
okay,
low
keep
rating
going.
on WikiFeet.
Dang.
Sokka, a men's rights activist.
Guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that. It's just the natural order of things.
Who over the course of the series has the misogyny literally beaten out of him. In a performance so nice, he's doing it twice.
Something so strangely familiar. Boomerang?
No shade here. Get that Sokka money, bro. And Appa, the only reason any of them are still alive.
Yeah. Where's Appa's medal?
Right? Maz Kanata needed to give Appa a medal at the end.
That'll be the next series. Yep. Just have a character show up.
3 times today.
Hunting the heroes is a family of villains who map perfectly onto the Targaryens and the Lannisters. Leading the charge of these twisted fire starters is Zuko, an outcast prince made of fire and angst.
It keeps exploding in my face, like everything always does.
Whose one purpose in life is to
I need to capture the Avatar. Finding the Avatar is far more important. This coward's 100 years in hiding are over. I want the Avatar. I'm chasing the Avatar. Where's the Avatar?
What a stunning view.
The only view I'm interested in seeing is the Avatar in chains.
Oh, we get it already.
I didn't capture the Avatar.
Who cares?
By his side is the Big Lebowski of the Fire
pause.
Nation.
Something we didn't touch on that, Lon, I think you brought up, and I think is a good point, but it was tough to phrase, is that, like, this is a universe where teenagers do all the good and cool and important stuff.
And not even like these three teenagers are like the only ones who haven't figured out. It's funny because it's a show for teens, and that makes inherent sense. Like, teenagers do feel like they're the only one. Everybody else is an idiot. And like, if we were in charge, we would have figured out these problems a long time ago. And like, I think this show really speaks to that worldview, because they travel everywhere, and everywhere they go is like, yeah, well, this village has been underwater for 100 years and we don't know what to do about it. And then Aang's like, why don't we just do this? And then it's fixed.
Yeah, and there, I will say, teenagers and eccentric old people, eccentric elderly people. Those are the only two types of people who matter in the Avatar universe. Regular adults, useless. Absolutely.
Screw you,
useless.
30-something.
Definitely the best example of kid power since Pete and Pete took on the international adult conspiracy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, like in the grand tradition of like E.T., where all the adults are like, I don't, just turn them over to the government, you know, and like, or evil, and the kids are like, nah, we can figure this out. We're plucky.
Yeah, we're plucky.
We're plucky. What?
We're the Monster Squad. Come on.
All right, keep going.
By his side is the Big Lebowski of the Fire Nation, General Iroh, a magical uncle on the hunt for some TNA.
Sharing tea with a fascinating stranger is one of life's true delights. Your beauty is intoxicating. More tea, please, in case someone brings home a lady friend.
This is the best tea in the city.
The secret ingredient is love.
I didn't see you get hit with the tongue.
These two will carry the emotional and thematic weight of the series, with satisfying character arcs that will bring tears of joy and sadness to your eyes. And then there's the other two. They're just mean. Do you like overarching stories, or are you more of an episodic plot person? To that, Avatar answers yes, as the show balances serving the main quest with a weekly dose of villages that need help, villages that get burned down because they helped, Sokka complaining,
Stupid swamp, dumb, ugly vines.
Katara getting preachy.
So you said, Joe, that the swamp episode was what stopped you from getting into the show? Because I loved the swamp episode.
No, it's I had never seen Avatar before, and anytime I was channel surfing, because I am of an age where that's something that you would do, that was always the episode of Airbender that I would catch. And it would be like at some point in the swamp episode.
Back to the foggy swamp.
This show takes place in a swamp. Sad.
I saw pieces of the swamp episode like 4 or 5 times before I was finally like, okay, let's do this thing.
It's honestly hard for me to imagine. Like, I didn't get into the show until way later when people were like, it's great, you should watch it. And then I like binged the whole thing straight through. That's like the only way this show makes sense to me. Like, I can't even imagine jumping around and just being like watching a book 3 episode out of context. Like, that seems like definitely not the ideal way to do this.
I know, and that was my experience, was just catching it on TV and be like, oh, this show's really cool. And like, what's happening? It's still cool. But I think
so literally DVD or something was like my first time through.
We finally jumped in about like while book 2 was like halfway in progress. So I remember like Comic-Con dropping the book 3 trailer and getting to freak out a little bit. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like starting Harry Potter like somewhere around Order, and then like having the last couple of, you know, those last couple of midnight releases come out where you're like, okay, I'm a late bloomer, but I still get to.
But I did just really like, I would have been hooked immediately because I really liked the, we'll call them Floridians, those guys on the like, the like fan boats or whatever they're doing.
I absolutely love this episode.
Yeah.
Hugh?
The swamp benders.
He was at you.
Good stuff. That was one of my favorite, like, random diversions.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they don't just stop with like, well, here's what waterbenders are like, and here's what earthbenders are like. Like within those categories, they still put a lot of thought into like, well, the waterbenders who come from this environment would be like this, and the sandbenders who come from the desert would be like this. And it's like the fact that they managed to keep so endlessly kind of inventive about it right through the end is really impressive.
Yeah, and also keeping up with that weird anime tradition of having some very southern characters just randomly appear in your Tokyo set series.
Yes, it's like
from the greats.
It's an all Asian world, but then like there's a Florida right in the middle.
Hi, yeah.
Of Asia, yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Dumb, ugly vines!
Guitar getting preachy.
It's not like I'm a preachy crybaby who can't resist giving over-emotional speeches about hope all the time. I know sometimes it hurts more to hope, and it hurts more to care. But you have to promise me that you won't stop caring.
And Aang searching for a teacher to help him master the elements, even though what he really needs is a master to help with his blood sugar issues.
I'm sorry.
We got your back.
Thanks. Uh-oh, somebody catch him, he's gonna...
Aang, don't forget to eat your breakfast before you fight the Fire Lord.
So celebrate the show that challenged kids with difficult themes.
Selfless duty calls you to sacrifice your own spiritual needs.
In between all the goofy sound effects.
This is full Looney Tunes. I love
Ren
it.
and Stimpy sound effects, yeah.
That's probably the closest thing we have to a successor to Star Wars, in that the original is beloved but nitpicked, and the sequel pissed a bunch of people off. Ah, well,
Now, pause.
at least no one will.
I have not seen any Legend of Korra. How does this panel feel about it?
I haven't finished Korra. I saw the first season, and I got to go back and get all my facts straight. But a different animation house did the first season, and it doesn't look as good. And because I think there was a lot of shenanigans for the release of Korra, because at first it was supposed to be like 3 specials. I think they hobbited Korra at the last second.
It grew in the telling.
It kept growing in the telling. And so I think Nickelodeon then realized if it was going to grow in the telling, they couldn't half-ass it with like a different animation house. And so eventually I think it gets better, but like animation-wise and stuff like that. But so yeah, I haven't finished the show yet.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't think it's as polished and as sort of tight as Avatar. And I was going to also echo what Joe said. Like, it's not quite as sort of painterly and like fluid. It doesn't look quite as good as the original show. I still like it though. I think it gets unduly criticized. Like, I think it's a cool, interesting way to follow up. And I like that it's like they totally reinvented the world. It's like way later, and it's like now it's a technological world with cities, and it's not just like let's redo the same show but for the next generation.
Oh, well, no wonder people don't like it, because they didn't just redo the same
exactly.
thing.
They didn't. They could have really easily just been like, well, here's the next Avatar, and here's her journey. But they didn't. They totally rethought the premise from the ground up, which I think is cool.
They Ryan Johnsoned Airbender.
A little bit.
Stuff. Ew.
Well, we'll find out. Danielle, I know you said you love it, but let's pretend we didn't hear that, because you and Eric are going to review The Legend of Korra this Friday, correct?
Yeah. We're gonna do a good old review. I believe that's going to happen right before Joe's trivia.
All right.
Yes, that'll be really fun.
Sick.
Yeah,
right.
the trivia will be live. The review won't be. We're gonna take the review ahead of time. Yeah.
All right.
Do it live.
We'll do it live. Screw it. Keep watching this fun trailer.
Off. Ah, well, at least no one will ever try to make a live-action adaptation ever again. Why must we fly so close to the sun? Starring.
Pause. Look, I know that they're doing it this time, but there's just some stuff that just looks good as a drawing.
Honestly,
and I think bending is one of those things.
I don't really agree. I think you could make like a cool filmmaker who knew what they were doing and was thoughtful about the action. I think bending itself could look cool in a movie. I just think it's this nature of the storytelling that makes it so difficult. Because we were talking about how it's like this it's perfect for TV. It's like a perfect blend of like Monster of the Week, Village of the Week, Adventure of the Week, and here's the big season-long arc. Like, it's better for TV, that kind of story, than a movie. But I think like just the idea of like somebody picking up a rock from the ground and like chucking it at you could be cool in a movie.
Nah, call up Justin Chatwin and Emmy Rossum. Get them on the phone.
I want to see that rock chucking show. Chuck rocks.
Just the bending. Like, I get when the action scenes are on, I get why anybody would watch this and be like, oh, this would be cool in a movie. Like two guys having like a fire duel. Like, sure. It's just like, how do you take this massive story in this whole world and like knock it down into like a 2-hour story?
It's a retelling of it's a retelling of the Avatines that we know and love, or is it a new thing?
No, it's a retell.
I mean, I feel like they're going to at least try to hit the beats of the story.
Okay. All right. Well, in this trailer.
Starring the Nature Boy. Woo! This is Katara. She's got my back. Okay, Boomerang. Beifong fa fong fong fong. Pyro Ren. Spill the tea. Kyoshi Warriors, come out and play! Cat Bus. Swiper, no swiping. Stop trying to make fetch happen, Tylee. La 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 la. I'd like to take his face off. Female cosplayers at Comic-Con. Chan and Ron John. No joke here, just a big fan. Netflix synergy.
There's no floor. It's just a river of lava.
Egg face.
Good show.
We don't care about the rules and we're not asking permission.
It's time to duel.
Your final test is a duel.
To the death, and let this be the end of this rivalry.
Zuko would have to duel his own father.
I'll be outside if you're man enough to fight me.
Stand and fight, Avatar!
Oh, were we fighting? Do you really want to fight me?
I really do.
You two must duel each other.
I order you to fight an Agni Kai.
But
Spooky spirit stuff.
Hey, come back!
Spirit magic doesn't work that way, Sokka. It's more like...
Yeah, hit that body roll.
Balls. First base.
What if we kissed? Us kissing?
I don't hate you.
I don't hate you too.
Suki!
Pause. Joe, you had a good point in our other video, which is like 100 reasons to watch Avatar right now, which is that like, do they all spend the rest of their lives together with their first crushes?
Yeah,
it's very Harry Pottery. Yeah,
I mean, you know, it's definitely another one of those things where it's like this show is made for a younger audience, and in your head when you're younger, you're like, the boy I meet at summer camp is the boy I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So you know, that's kind of what they got to do. But yeah, I ignore that part.
Yeah, it's where literally everyone meets their OTP when they're like 12. And it's like,
yeah,
you're my soulmate. Okay.
I mean, do they deserve first base?
Right.
Yes, they've all worked very hard.
Many.
I don't know. Aren't these all these are those trauma-based relationships that they warned us about at the end of Speed, and that didn't even last into Speed 2 Cruise Control. So
right? Yeah.
I worry.
No, Suki's going to be dating, oh shoot, what's his face in Speed 2? Darn it.
Willem Dafoe?
No, Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick.
Jason Patrick with the leeches.
Jason Patrick.
Yeah.
Final answer, Jason Patrick.
Okay. Anyways, keep going.
And Death Cabbage for Cutie.
My cabbages! Oh, my cabbages! My cabbages! My cabbages! My
Forget it.
Earth, Wind, Ang, Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, this show was
Danielle.
okay. But I think they should have gone with the original 4 elements.
Smoke, slime, fire, and
Stink. Never underestimate the power of stink.
Never underestimate the power of stink, you guys.
Or
See,
stank.
you watched it out of order. How would you have appreciated the Cabbage Runner? You have to watch it in order to fully grasp that guy's arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best part about the Cabbage Runner is that the actual button is the little throwaway line that the Ember Island players base their play on interviews with him.
Oh, that's good. And I hear there's like in Legend of Korra, because I read an article about the cabbage, like an oral history of the cabbage guy. Man, people like this show. And it's like
Vice is running out of ideas.
Yeah, wow.
There's a statue to him or like his descendants in Legend of Korra. So like he became a big.
I believe them, but
Yeah,
I
they were
had
just
not
missing
noticed.
that in chat. Chat was just saying the same thing. Yeah,
Nice.
someone said he makes it big in Korra.
Good.
He got it better than Jar Jar did in the books.
What happened to Jar Jar in the books?
Oh my God, it's really sad actually. So Jar Jar, it's like a short like paragraph where they're like, the clown entertains the kids all day, and the kids don't know what the adults know, but the adults like view him with disdain. And essentially, what happens is that Jar Jar is now a homeless busker for children because he has been outcast because of his role in the Senate going down. It's
Okay,
real sad.
all right.
It's
I can
No
see that.
respect. He's the Sokka of the Star Wars universe.
Wasn't he like didn't he pull like a reverse Spartacus? Like, didn't he sell out the galaxy?
Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
he
he's the one-
he is a homeless busker now.
He's the one who gets fooled into proposing that they give supreme powers to Chancellor Palpatine. Yeah.
He's a clumsy.
Ew, whoopsie.
Whoopsie doodle.
Whoopsie do.
It was a little out of it. I don't know why they would make him a senator. Obviously, he's a little out of his depth there.
That's on Naboo.
Fair.
Really.
That's on the Naboo.
Well, the Naboo media just fell in love with the wacky guy who had no chance of winning. And it became a big meme, and all the youngsters in Naboo voted for the guy, and here we are.
He seemed like he knew what he was doing in that boardroom.
Yeah, everyone was real concerned with Padme's
Just need to shake things up.
Yeah.
What's going on in Naboo anyways? They elect a queen? That's not how
It's very
queening or electing works.
confusing. Very weird. Yeah, you
And
don't
the
elect.
queen is always 10 or something?
Yeah.
There's something screwy going on there. Stop electing child
Naboo
queens,
doesn't
You're old,
know
Naboo.
if you're, look, in the Spielberg Lucasverse, if you're old enough to fall in love with Dr. Jones, you're old enough to be the queen of a planet. Marion age.
Okay.
And
Let's watch some.
Marion age.
Let's Marion age and Marion age.
Yeah.
Nice, Joe. Let's watch some outtakes.
But if you mess with his friends, his dome lights up to let enemies know they're about to go down. Sokka, the Rodney Dangerfield.
While you guys are playing in the water, I'm supposed to be hard at work picking mud out of a giant bison's feet?
Mud and bugs.
There's some sleeping pills I want you to take. When should I take them? Whenever you wake up.
You're the leader? But your voice still cracks.
Think of all the people who love you.
Yeah, like who?
Hey,
I wanted so badly
think
for
of
this
anybody
to
who
work.
loves Rodney?
Your future is full of struggle and anguish.
But you didn't read my palms or anything.
It's written all over your face.
I don't get no respect. No respect from anyone.
And Deus Ex Appa. Oh, we get it already. A job that's much harder because he keeps saving the Avatar. Starring Blue Arrow,
Fifth Element, Supreme Bang.
Bender Bending Rodriguez, Yip Yip Man. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. The Dalai Lama, Squirtle, Sleet Fighter, Aquafina, Gatorade, Looper,
Sokka, huh?
Captain Boomerang, Put a Sokka in it, Misogynist, Foot Devil, School of Rock, Barefoot and Impregnable, Zuki-O,
you want to know how I got these scars?
Flame on! The Dragon Prince, Mark Zuckerberg. I row, right? My neighbor Flotaro. Thank you for flying Bison Air. Marcel, Fryklops, Luke in The Last Jedi Remake, The Plot of Hamilton.
Your final test is a duel.
Did you know Qatar's mom died?
Ever since Mom died, I've been doing all the work around camp. They killed my mother. I went through the same thing when I lost my mom. I lost my mother in a Fire Nation raid. Sokka and I lost our mother to the Fire Nation. The Fire Nation took my mother away from me. You could bring my mother back. Mom! I can't believe...
Oh.
Swamp.
And going Avatar mode to save his friends. And going Avatar mode to save Sokka.
The people of the world
So,
are terrified
pause.
by...
It was hard to show, but Aang's avatar mode gets triggered very clearly when he sees his like old mentor and guardian dead, and when Appa's in trouble, and when Katara's in trouble, and then there's multiple moments where like Sokka is like in the ground, like he's trapped, like, and there's a boar like trying to murder him. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry, buddy.
Throw a boomerang at it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
We gotta
Can you
go.
move? Oh,
I gotta
yeah.
check out this cave.
Walk it off.
Yeah, walk it off. Poor guy. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
The people of the world are terrified by the Fire Nation. They don't see our greatness. They hate us. And we deserve it.
Yeah, you tell him, Zuko. Oh, we're the Fire Nation, aren't we? And have a cart. The Green Leaf Vendor.
Ah, my cabbages!
Monk.
I still would have gone with Monk.
Avatar. The good one. Not the James Cameron one. Not James Cameron's Avatar. A song of ice and fire. And earth. And air.
I intend to remove the moon as a factor.
Remove the moon? How?
I love that Admiral Zhao is a big Mr. Show fan.
Another one for us.
Another one for us. Yeah. Blow up the moon.
We will blow up the moon.
My first note on my first pass at this script, my first note from Spencer was that because I just had Monk, parentheses, just use the logo from Monk, and my note was, you have to write other jokes.
I think Monk is pretty funny. Honestly.
It is
Like,
pretty
I
funny.
can see that.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
There's nothing like being like, here's my walk-off home run, and then like mic dropping when you weren't supposed to, and someone just being like,
not quite. I thought. I will say, when I put down Bender bending Rodriguez, I was like, this is gonna be it. This is the one. That's.
Look,
I thought
this is a democracy here. If you just, you're allowed to talk back. Like, if I don't like it, like,
no, we're not.
fight for it.
One, not really, but also no. I think I agree. The jokes that made it in are like, it's fine. I just said, like, sometimes you come up with something and you're like, definitely getting in the final draft, and then
whoever said this is Katara, she's got my back, because I was like very pleased with because that was a little later, and I was like, oh man, all these Katara jokes are good. And then whoever dropped in this is Katara, she's got my back. I was like,
well, yeah, it's not about who did what, but I did do that. All right, let's do some chat comments. What are people saying about? Oh, wait, should we also play the end card thing that we didn't?
Yes.
Yes. So a perfect storm of not working happened
to throw in there. Yeah. So through various mishaps and tomfoolery, on no fault of Dante Bosco or Donnie Brasco, we have a fun end card for you. Let's play and hear what Zuko has to say.
Hello, Zuko here. Azula always lies. The scar's not on the wrong side. I must capture the Avatar to restore my honor. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Rufio, Rufio, Rufio. Oh!
Well, that's awesome. We'll have to get him back when we do Dragon Prince.
Yes, something.
And work it in proper.
Or he's in
Hook
Korra.
again. I mean,
And Hook again. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Korra.
Well, perfect.
So when
we'll do Korra. We'll do Korra.
We'll do Korra.
We'll do Korra.
All right, so some chat comments. Adam Hulbert writes, I do appreciate Danielle's water bending moves. I believe that's on the thumbnail right now. What kind of bender would anyone else be? Joe Lon? What you bending?
Wow.
Earth, because I never relax and I'm always very tense and like that. So
yeah, I also feel like I probably have like the build and the body type of an earthbender. Like I don't feel like I would be in like the water bending tribe on like some raft. And like, you know, I think it feels like a natural place I would fit. I would be one of like the heavy set dudes hanging out in Eero's tea house in Ba Sing Se.
Got it.
You are definitely more of just a White Lotus guy. No bending, but definitely.
Right, yeah. I feel like I'm just like an old wise bender who's like, but until you master your emotions, you will never master bending.
I was thinking stink bender, but I feel like airbender, you get the best of both worlds because you can just shoot the stink.
I forgot stink bending was an option. Yeah, obviously that's.
Right.
Oh, she's a water. Well, unless you disagree, but on the thumbnail, you're a waterbender, Danielle.
No, I think that's fair. I will say again, Spencer. I think that if you get that base going, you can be a stank bender.
Yeah, if you get funked up deep enough in the pocket, you become a stank. All right, Philip Demick writes, can anyone explain why the movie is so hated? Well, watch the movie. Watch the movie and watch the source material, and then watch the movie.
It makes, I think in addition to just not being very good, it makes changes, and you can't it makes big changes, and they're not better. Like it doesn't improve anything. So it's just like why are people don't like that? No one likes that. Why would you randomly change things if it's not an improvement?
Yeah, it looks worse. It is worse. Everything about it's worse. So D.A. Baracus and Bearzerger, respectively, are giving us props, or Joe props, for recommending The Dragon Prince. And Bearzerger is going to watch Ghost Dog, which apparently is on YouTube. I'm going to watch it right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're doing the Lord's work.
Slow. Give it like 30-40, I think, to see if it's for you.
A lot of time to give.
Takes a little time to build.
Yeah.
It's just quite a bit of time.
Quite a bit. All right, Zachary Delia writes, I don't know if it's in the 100 Reasons video. I think it might be, but Azula's evil and craziness had more depth than Ozai's. That's true. That's true.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't really even meet Ozai as a character until the final season. He's like an outline until then. Azula gets a lot more time to sort of develop.
Azula's also great. Obviously it's our 8-minute honest trailer, and not the air job that I wanted to give the whole thing. But if I could, I would. I love that the show, and we talk about it in that 100 Reasons video. But book 2, Azula's just this horrible murder person the whole time, almost kills Aang, and then book 3 they do the fun little teen movie episode with her friends and Zuko on the beach, and they give you just a little bit of the idea that she's conflicted and she's struggling and she actually has flaws and she might actually be a person, and then but then they just pull the rug out from that right away, which I really like, because I think for a show that is for younger people, I think the safer choice would have been that she redeems herself by the end too, and I love that they just do not go that way. They give you like a spark, like a seed, and then just throw it away, which I really love.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes the redemption of other characters more impactful when not every character automatically gets redeemed.
Yeah.
There you go. Moving on, Yoni the K writes, I don't hate you, honest trailers. Well, we don't hate you either. Yoni the K. High voltage writes.
Was that on the table? Why was that on the table?
That's Zuko and May's I love you too.
Okay. I feel better now, thank you.
Toon J correcting me. Dante Bosco's in American Dragon, not Dragon Prince. Excuse me, that's a different actor. What's his name? Jack something? DeSena, right?
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, he's
anyways,
in Dragon Prince.
And then finally, Sergio Hernandez. We'll go out with this one. Who is your most underrated character in the franchise? Who do you think doesn't get their due?
That's an interesting question. I really like the weird Professor Lee, whoever they meet on their way to that like library. I like that whole library episode where they lose Appa, and Owl in the library chasing them. But that's a really like they have a lot of those fun show up for an episode or two supporting characters. I also really like Clancy Brown as like the big season 2 villain at Ba Sing Se. I'm forgetting the character's name. Where he's like the running the brainwashing operation.
Yeah.
That's a really cool like mid-show nemesis.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm sure he's not underrated because I'm not on Tumblr, but I really like Jet. I'm a Jet guy.
Yeah,
swords,
I thought
right?
Jet was very cool.
What's not to like about
cool
hook
swords. He was willing to do, what had to be done. And I think that these kids, they don't realize they're in a war. Granted, it's been going very slowly for 100 years, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I was a big Jet guy throughout the series.
I like Mai, and I know again probably not super like underrated, but I'm a huge Mai fan.
May's great, and then I love Tyler. I'm trying to think of an underrated. I feel like everyone pretty much like gets their due pretty well with the show, which I like.
Yeah, everybody who's recurring at least gets like an episode or two to sort of focus on them.
And they do a really good job of being like, hey, you liked this person from that one episode, they're going to show up for the invasion.
Right.
You know what? I feel like the cabbages get all the shine, and the cart that carries the cabbages get nothing, and that's not fair.
Unfair.
I think you just described the problems with capitalism.
All right. Well, on that note, that's all for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Please come join us next week, where we will And a film that just won't die. And we hope you like that one too, but you won't like it as much as Avatar. It's not that
Almost
good.
definitely not.
But we'll have fun with it. And I hope you have fun. Come back next week here on Honest Trailer Commentaries. Thanks for watching.